Hi, I'm Joni Patry, and welcome to my YouTube channel. Well, today I want to talk about the full moon that's going to be happening in May. And this full moon happens May 23rd, and it's going to be 8 degrees of Scorpio. Now, of course, you've got to recognize and know by this time that I'm a Vedic sidereal astrologer, which means these placements that I'm referring to are different than tropical Western astrology. So, and these are the exact true positions astronomically. So, before I continue on, I want to remind everyone about my free newsletter. Sign up for my free newsletter and you will get all of my predictions delivered to your email address absolutely free every week. And also, while you're at my website, galacticcenter.org, remember to check out my Patreon page where you will become a member of a community of like-minded people. And there I give free live classes. We will be connected. You will get exclusive information there. And I also have something coming up, my Galactic Planner, where you will be able to get all of your personal predictions put into your personal calendar. How cool is that? You will be totally prepared. So find all that at galacticcenter.org. Now let's continue on. I want to talk about this full moon because it is huge. It's going to be 8 degrees of Scorpio. Now, why is that so important? Because it's debilitated. And we have so many issues cropping up this month of May. This is the month that I feel like everything comes to the event of explosive things. So, as I said, around May 18th, Mars will conjunct Rahu, which stands for violence and attacks and warlike behavior. And also, a few days later, on the 26th of May, we have Mars crossing over the previous eclipse degree, which is another explosive indicator. So we've got a lot going on. Now, the moon is in Scorpio, full. And this means it is, well, it's in Mars-ruled sign. Mars rules Scorpio in Vedic astrology. We use the old rulerships. So this intensifies the power of Mars during this time. And Mars couldn't be more intense with Rahu. So that's another thing. Now the moon will be in the nakshatra Anuradha, which is actually quite a nice nakshatra in many respects, but it is ruled by Saturn, so it does have its repercussions dealing with karma and things dealing with heaviness going on. And Saturn is really in a difficult position because it's in Aquarius. But Saturn does rule Aquarius, so this makes it more powerful. So I'm hopeful that there will be resolution coming from all of the incredible angry outbursts around the world. So there will be resolution to it all and a reason. Now, what's very interesting on this day is that Jupiter and Venus will be exactly conjunct at 5 degrees of Taurus. Now, Venus is extremely strong in Taurus. It's great. But you know, when you put two planets together, you think, oh, this is great. They're two great benefics together, exactly. But in Vedic astrology, this is called a planetary war. And together they're fighting against each other. It's actually called Uda. And this fight means one has to win the fight. And generally, it's a planet that they say that Venus usually wins out. Why? Because it's the brightest. So in other words, here's what I want you to know though. Both Jupiter and Venus are at odds with each other, being at planetary war. And not only that, they are the two great benefics, but they're both opposite camps. Venus rules its camp of the Asuras, where Jupiter rules its camp of the Devas. Putting them together, it's like the fight against dark and light. The Asuras are said to be like the demons, which actually I think that's what they represent, but they're not really, not really. And the Devas are like the angels, but regardless, we have a fight of light and dark, of good and evil during this time. And I think all of you will be in agreement with that by looking at what's going on in the world. So Jupiter is close to the sun, so is Venus, and that's actually a combustion. So that even weakens Jupiter and Venus all the more. So our great protectors are actually weakened if you understand the rules of Vedic astrology. So they're not in a good placement, but it looks quite delightful on the forefront, thinking two benefics together and aspecting the sun and the moon. But in reality, it's a kind of difficult aspect where the benefics are canceling each other out, and they're not giving us the necessary protection that we especially need during this time that Mars is in its critical positions in Pisces. Mars is in Jupiter's sign. So Mars, with Jupiter being the ruler of both Rahu, Mars, it's weakened. And this means there's problems, many problems that are occurring at this time. So I'm looking at this full moon as problematic. Mainly too because the moon is debilitated in Scorpio, means the moon is weak in this sign, and it's ruled by Mars. So Mars, when you look at how it's placed, is really not operating the way it should in its fullest capacity. And it's causing problems. So I think what I'm trying to say is the anger and the violence is succumbing and overcoming all of us at this time. And May is a critical month. Looking at the new moon, looking at the full moon, looking at Mars, looking at Jupiter, all of these planets are telling us we better be cautious. Now, another thing is Saturn is aspecting Scorpio, the sign where the moon is. Saturn is pretty much at the midpoint of being in Aquarius. It's square both Taurus and Scorpio. So Saturn is causing even more delays and problems and difficulty, but most of all, the karmic repercussions of what's to come. I think what's happening is the world is paying its karmic debts now for all that's been going on. But don't worry, you'll be okay. I know I say this so many times, but I know that everything happens for a reason, and we have to go through these crises times in order to come out on the other side with the healing. But I know I'm a broken record this whole month, but it has to happen. There has to be a purging of everything that's been going on. And this month in the area of war and violence is going to bring these things to a peak. But we'll be able to overcome it. And then we will look at the reality of true peace. May not come right away, but it's coming. It has to come. That is where everything that's been out of balance will have to come back into balance. Everything is cyclic. Remember that. And here's the cycle of change, transformation. And even biblically, they say there's a time of war and there's a time of peace. And that's what we're facing. So with that, I think I'll close. If you would like more information on me, remember you can always go to my website, galacticcenter.org. And then again, if you want to study with me, I have an online university. Go to universityofvedicastrology.com. Thank you.